the motion, and I'll comment on a few issues. One, this matter was allegedly triggered off by an element of insubordination on the part of the deputy governor, who, as reported in the report, decided to approach the deputy president to go on a trip to the USA, then without the knowledge or approval of her governor. And when the governor learned of it, when she wanted to be facilitated for the trip, I think he lost his cool. I also think that the committee should have condemned that insubordination, which it did not, even if the governor overreacted. Because then the other thing of governors being facilitated, deputy governors, the law is very clear. When you look at the election of although the law does not clearly state the functions, the Constitution does not state the functions of a deputy governor, but you can glean them from what the Constitution says about the deputy president. In Article 147 of the Constitution, it is clearly stated that one, the deputy president shall be the principal assistant of the president and shall deputize for the president in the execution of the president's functions. Two, the deputy president shall perform the functions conferred by this Constitution and any other functions of the president as the president may assign. Three, subject to Article 134, when the president is absent or is temporarily incapacitated, and during any other period that the president decides, the deputy president shall act as the president. The deputy president shall not hold any other state or public office. Mr. Speaker, sir, if that was to be understood in its clarity, you would realize that a deputy governor is nothing more than a spare wheel, for lack of a better image. Like on a vehicle, you have a spare wheel that comes into play when one of the wheels is incapacitated or is not functional. This idea that deputy governors can stand apart from a governor is untenable, because it is going to create two centers of power. And that will not be good. The governor and the deputy governor are one ticket. There's one center of power in the county, and the deputy governor must realize that there's no shortcut to the governorship. If they wanted to be governors, they should run as governors. They should not seek to be governors through the back door. To be a deputy is as defined in the law. So I don't see any other functions that can be assigned to a deputy governor beyond what the Constitution lays out for a deputy president in Article 47, taking into consideration all the changes and alterations that may be required. In the question of mutual respect, I support that there has to be mutual respect. And where there's any misunderstanding, I think if there's mutual respect, it will be resolved. The other question that comes in is the question of budgetary allocations. I think the people who make the budget are MCAs. And if there's any group that has to be helped to understand maybe how to allocate funds and staff, could be the MCAs who could allocate funds. I remember the national government used to have funds allocated directly to the office of the deputy president and to the office of the president, although sometime it changed. And maybe what we could do would be to allocate funds directly in the budget, so that the deputy governor does not depend on funding from the governor, but he has got his office is recognized as an office that exists as a governor in waiting or a governor in times of emergency, and it is fully facilitated right from the budget. And maybe we may need to look at our budget-making process to ensure that we put in place structures where these officers are funded and facilitated to operate. But no functions beyond being deputy governor should be assigned to a deputy governor. You have situations that arise where the question of the deputy governor is abused. You have seen in this particular case that the deputy president shall not hold any other state office or public office. In some counties, you find that deputy governors are assigned ministerial duties. It's a habit across the country. In my own county of Busia, the deputy governor doubles up as the Minister for Health. And I think we need clarity. Then when you go to look at the total number of ministers that a county can hold, whereas the Constitution sets a top limit of 10 county executives, members of the county executive, you find that some counties then go around and say, because they have appointed the deputy governor to a ministerial position in the county, therefore they've got the leeway to appoint another person to make the 10. So you find a county like Busia has got 11 members of the county executive, and their defense before the committee is that the deputy one is a deputy governor and therefore does not count. How can he not count and it's running a ministry? So these kind of things need to be looked at critically. And we make people understand that when you choose to become a deputy governor, you choose to become a deputy governor. You don't hide in the office of the deputy governor to do other things. And this I say without condemning any deputy governor who is serving in any role, but just to draw attention to the fact that we should try to sanitize our counties and limit the expense that the county the money the county spends on governance by not allowing counties to go beyond 10 county executives where the law sets that limit. Mr. Speaker, sir, there was reference to the play Echoes of War by the former Senator for Kakamega, the Honorable Malala. Mr. Malala called me sometime last week, and he mentioned the issue of that this play had been frustrated, was being frustrated at the national level. And he did that because some time back, I think in 2013 or thereabouts, I did file a petition to demand that Butere girls be allowed to perform their play, which was called Shackles of Doom, incidentally by the same gentleman, Mr. Malala, and the Honorable Majanja, David Shikomera, the late, wrote a very, very, very detailed judgment on the question of freedom of expression, especially artistic expression. So we cannot be brought to a date whereby you can criminalize storytelling or the creative arts or satire. But over and above that, the Ministry of Education has an elaborate structure for filtering plays. And this play was not just sprung onto the national stage. The play started at the school level. The zones, I think, then it comes to the divisions, then it comes to the county, then it goes to the regions, I think it goes to the national. Now, how can it get to the national? Then we begin hearing all these funny things. It is some attempt to play politics, to introduce politics into schools that should be condemned. Because these officers of the Ministry of Education were the very ones who are adjudicating this place right from the grassroots. And none other than the Ministry of Education, where it has been quoted as saying that the ministry has not banned that play. The court examined the play, it found it not subversive, to order that the play be allowed to run. It ordered that the author be free to present his play. And so we get to a situation whereby it's a bit disturbing that some overzealous officers then take upon it themselves to try and ram it the wrong way. It's a matter of public record that Butere Girls is the alma mater of some prominent ladies in this country. And some of those ladies are supposed to have been vexed by the fact that their former schools are being associated with this kind of performance, and that they are behind the overreach by the security forces to try and frustrate the play, even when the Minister for Education has gone on record to say that they did not ban that play. And so I would like to call upon those who are in charge of this country to ensure that we don't lose our focus in terms of what should be done. And the use of excessive force against children is not acceptable. We are a democracy, and the use of non-teaching staff in extracurricular activities like writing and directing plays, like coaching people during football, volleyball, netball games, for coaching kids during music festivals is allowed because a school is not an island. A school is part of the wider community and it should interact with the wider community. As to say that a politician cannot meddle, yes, Mr. Malala may have been a politician. I've seen some people comment that way. I am also a published playwright, for those who don't know. I could be the topmost playwright living in Kenya today. And I've written plays. I've published plays. My plays are being taught in the Black Drama series in the USA. It doesn't mean that I cannot, that I'm somebody less a human being than who cannot just engage in a school. So you can't say that I cannot go with my vast experience into a school and participate in their drama festivals. So I think as a country, we are dancing down a very, very dangerous slippery slope that is going to attempt and stifle freedom of expression. And above all, after a court has ordered, assuming there was a dispute, the emergency was none, to just overzealous individuals, assuming there was a dispute, and the court has resolved that dispute by giving specific orders, we cannot afford to defy those orders. If you don't agree with the orders, go back to the court that issued them and demand that they be lifted. Don't try to take the law into your own hands and do whatever you want to do. So, in terms of insubordination that we are also talking about in this particular motion, I feel that this culture of insubordination to legitimate authority needs to be addressed so that we do not end up being our own enemies. We do not end up harming the fabric that holds this country together, and we proceed to encourage the creative arts to help us look at ourselves and to help us understand what exactly we are entitled to as a people. The Echoes of War is a beautiful script whose performance should be allowed to go free of charge, and the arrest of the author and the detention of the author, the former Senator for Kakamega, Mr. Malala, is something that I condemn in the strongest terms possible, And I pray that those who did that be brought to book. And I think this is one thing that will deserve a motion being brought to this House, or a statement being brought to this House, so that we can understand what is happening in Nakuru. We cannot leave it to overzealous individuals, random nationalists, to come and try to tell us the do's or don'ts of the creative arts. We must not get to a place whereby those in power have a reverse Midas touch that...
Senator Omtatah,
Yes.
just as a matter of guidance, if you could please follow Standing Order 120, relevance and repetition. The motion at hand, if you could, you've deviated, and I've given you leeway to discuss the matter of that you have entered in, but you're dwelling on it too much. If you could just stick to the relevance of the motion, Senator.
Yes, I'm guided, Mr. Speaker, sir, I'm guided by your wisdom. To wind up, I say that I was just going to say, to bring up together an analogy, that the genesis of the dispute in Trans Nzoia was not being addressed. When I looked at the report, the governor had said clearly that he and the deputy had very good working relationships until he learned that the deputy governor had gone to the deputy president and gotten a trip to go to the USA and wanted funding from the county. And as his assistant, I think he should have begun by getting clearance from the governor to do that. And this insubordination was at the root of it. And I noticed that the report by the committee did not dwell on that. Finally, there was a report to the DCI, which made this matter to be a matter under active investigation. There was no feedback in the report about what the findings of the DCI were and what was the outcome of that complaint to the DCI, whether it was withdrawn or not. I've not seen it in the report. And so, from where I stand, I'm unable to support this report, and in my submission, I oppose the report for being inadequate, for failing to exhaust the issues before it. With those few remarks, Mr. Speaker, I return the mic, and I thank you for the opportunity to address you.
Thank you, Senator. Senator Tabitha Mutinda.
Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker. And first, allow me to really appreciate the committee